4-2 is how they finished in the conference. Kentucky, the 6th seed, 24-7, finished 11-5 in the SEC, 4th in that conference. The tip, and we are underway. Princeton with the basketball.
Already we have a little bit of a change in the lineup too. They've decided to change their lineup and play a little bit smaller. They actually have Ryan Howard playing the 4 and guarding Allery.
And Taylor Murray out of the gates defensively for Kentucky, one of the best defenders in the nation. And Princeton cuts right through. That's Carly Littlefield dropping the first bucket of the game. Taking a look at the Capital One starting lineups. You mentioned the change in the lineup for Kentucky, going a little bit smaller, and that 3-ball falls for the Wildcats.
Here's the full court pressure that Princeton's had to work on the last 2 days.
Princeton lineups brought to you by Capital One. You got the size in there with Bella Allery, one of the top players, as you mentioned, Coach, in the country, will be a top 10 pick in the WNBA. When she gets there, she's just a junior, and there's still so much more upside.
So much more. She's just gotten better every year. She's learned how to be a go-to player. Well, here we are already at the start. Princeton's biggest concern, I guess, was breaking the press, getting a good shot every time down, and already Kentucky has turned them over and gotten to the free throw line off the turnover.
Gabrielle Rush picks up her first foul. It is Macy Morris at the free throw line, the senior, who's been dealing with knee injuries off and on throughout the season. Got almost 2 full weeks of rest after the SEC tournament, and she's back to about 100% and looking pretty good so far in the early going. That great defense led by Taylor Murray.
Trying to overload, get a post up here for Allery on the block, get an early touch, nice pass. They worked a lot yesterday when the double team came of making a basket cut and spotting up on the weak side.
Bella Allery is going to get a lot of touches on the basketball, and if she doesn't finish as coach, she averages 3 assists per game.
Yeah, and I think, you know, she's going to even become a better passer as she sees more double teams and attention.
Morris driving off the runner, does not get the bounce. The putback, though, is good for Tatiana Wyatt, the sophomore from Columbus, Georgia. Kentucky averages 21.5 turnovers forced per game. It's no joke. They go back to what got them into the NCAA tournament year after year after year, a couple of Elite 8 appearances because of that defense that they got away from the past couple of seasons, got back to it this year and are back in the tournament after missing out a year ago.
Yep, they were known for their pressure for years and years, and with the injuries they've had and the changes in their team, they got away from it, as you said.
There's a steal. Amanda Paschal tries to lay it up, and the rebound, Bella Allery. Now look at this kid bring the ball down. Those are the guard skills she learned from her father, Mark Allery, the NBA player, Duke star back in the day. And then she got big, coach, and then those guard skills are benefiting her as a post player.
She's, you know, I coach a few players like that who are capable of taking the ball off the board and going end to end. It's a huge advantage for your team when you have a player like that.
Empty possession for the Wildcats. They get it back off the steal. Here comes Taylor Murray, and she is denied.
And I think Sydney Jordan had blocked it off of Murray's body.
Matthew Mitchell looking on. Back into the tournament after missing out a year ago. Team that has made 4 Elite 8 appearances since his tenure there. Last was 2013. They didn't get into the tournament last year after finishing 15-17, 6-10 in the SEC.
This is going to be a constant battle. The pressure to get into your offense. One of the things that Princeton had to work on for this game is running some of their plays that are quicker hitters. You're not going to be able to use the whole shot clock because of the press.
Allery splits the defense. And the rebound is there for the Wildcats. bucket for Kentucky. Her first of the game. Double team, trying to break the press, and a kick ball. Here's a look at Courtney Banghart in her 12th season. She was the 2015 Naismith Coach of the Year after finishing 30-0 in the regular season. Won another Ivy League title in the tournament and the regular season title as well, getting her team back to the tournament. And you're going to probably go every single year. You've got a kid like Bella Allery healthy and in your lineup. The kid is such a stud. Has been the Ivy League Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons. Was the Rookie of the Year her freshman year.
Again, nice another Princeton back cut.
Gabrielle Rush high and puts it down.
Matthew Mitchell stressed over and over yesterday that when Princeton makes a cut, you gotta stay with the cut all the way through, because they'll throw the pass late to somebody as they get under the basket. Princeton in a little bit of a zone here, 2-3. They don't play a ton of it, but they do play it every game a little bit.
McKinney with the basketball. McKinney with a shot. There's Allery with the rebound. And a steal, and a foul is called.
That's a bad foul.
On Taylor Murray.
Can't have those kind of fouls after you've made a mistake. You made a mistake, just get back.
Check that, they're going to call that on Bella Allery. Yeah, so she was tangled up there with Taylor Murray, who tried to strip the ball away. Said, hey, okay, if you're going to bring the ball down, you're going to have to bring it past me.
Yep.
Again, Taylor Murray, one of the top defenders in the nation, top 10 semifinalists for the Naismith National Defensive Player of the Year award. Tells you how good she is.
Interesting with Kentucky, they've already played 9 people in the game so far, trying to keep everybody fresh for their pressure.
7 seconds on the shot clock. They get the bounce pass inside, and it's stolen away by the Tigers. Netherfield averages 13 points per game, in some trouble here. Gets it over to Sydney Jordan. She is driving, and she is fouled. First foul on Kiki McKinney. We got a back and forth game with Kentucky up by 1.
And all we're asking today, let's go beat Kentucky. Let's go be ourselves, best version of ourselves. Let's go.
Well, the message from Kentucky head coach Matthew Mitchell, simple. Stick to who we are, and that's one of the top defensive teams in the country. They are up by 1 here on the 11th seed Princeton. As you take a look at their February schedule, they lost just the 1 game down at the bottom, Texas A&M. That was at College Station. But boy, they had to play tough down the stretch to get here.
Yep, and his point is well taken. You're not going to change who you are between the end of the regular season or conference tournament and the time now. You are who you are, and they are a good pressure defensive team. That's how they got the record they did, and they got to keep it up if they're going to win and advance in the tournament.
And keeping the scoring going for the Wildcats. Jada Roper dropping down a beautiful triple. Shoots 35% from outside. See that stifling, harassing Kentucky defense so far. The Tigers have been able to break the press pretty well.
The thing that saved Princeton right now is their offensive rebounding. They've had 4 turnovers, but they've gotten shots back on misses that have allowed them to be right there in the game.
Good ball movement, 7 seconds on the clock there. And the bucket for Sydney Jordan.
Well, we've already seen why Sydney Jordan is kind of what Coach Banghart said, their utility player that just does everything. She's toughness, but she's handled the ball against the press. She's gotten offensive rebounds. She shot a baseline jump shot. She's had a hook shot in the middle. She just does a little bit of everything. Jordan
already at her average with 6 points so far in the game.
That's tough. That's a second foul on Allery. You can't have your best player with 2 fouls this early in the game.
Oh, she's going to touch the ball almost every possession. That's the game plan for Courtney Banghart. Get the ball to Bella. Bella's shot, as she said, is better than anybody else's shot on the team.
But the problem is you don't get those shots if you're not out on the court with your foul trouble.
So what do you do if you're Courtney Banghart, and that's your game plan?
Well, I think she's decided right now she's going to leave her in the game and trust that Bella will be smart enough not to pick up her 3rd foul here.
Bella Allery, the pride of Princeton women's basketball and the Ivy League. She missed out on every single one of the Power 5 matchups in the non-conference slate that Princeton had, coming off a broken hand. Had to nurse that, got back against, I believe, Quinnipiac, and had to work her way back into the starting lineup from there, working on her 3-shot. She's fighting for the basketball here. That Kentucky defense.
They went through a very, very tough stretch without her. They lost 7 in a row, something they haven't done in years.
And it wasn't pretty.
No, it wasn't.
The miss. Now here comes the Tigers. Jordan goes high. Allery there trying to pull down the rebound. And we've got a tie-up. Possession arrow will send it the other way with the Wildcats. So Allery missed the first 9 games of the season, including that swing of games against teams out of the Big 10, Big 12, and ACC.
Now they have the lineup on the court that they didn't, that played those games when they struggled.
And look at those numbers.
And I think Courtney saw the last possession down here where Bella was trying to get on the offensive boards and said, oh my, there's the 3rd foul right there if you're not careful. So get her a break here before the end of the quarter. See if you can buy some time.
Now Kentucky really needing to capitalize on this opportunity. That's a shot by Ryan Howard, the celebrated freshman, and a foul is called.
I had watched Ryan Howard, a fair amount of times on TV this year, but it's really striking when you walk in the gym and you see how big she is for a wing player. I mean, when she was first recruited, I had just assumed that she was a post player, and then I saw her play and was completely in awe of what she can do.
Oh, nice play inside to Blair Green for the bucket. Sydney Jordan, by the way, picked up her first foul. And Ryan Howard is an impressive specimen. That's a freshman that looks like a kid that's been in this Kentucky program for a couple of years.
I know it's not the exact comparison, but I said to you, I think yesterday, she reminds me with her body type and walking in, that she reminds me a lot of Shamika Holtzclaw. Talented, not as explosive maybe, but a better shooter at the same age.
You can give her a little time, Coach. A couple more years in the SEC, and that's a nice bucket for Sydney Jordan.
And right there, as you see what Princeton does best. They played side to side, they moved the ball, everybody touched it, they got a cut down in the lane. Ball starts on one side of the floor, good penetration off the pump fake, pass inside, nice layup, and the foul.
8 points for Sydney Jordan. Blair Green picks up her first foul. Jordan is having herself a game. Got 2 seniors on this Princeton Tigers roster, and they celebrate their seniors because it's not easy going to Princeton, paying your own way, and then playing college basketball at the same time.
Yeah, the pressure to compete in both the classroom and on the court is a huge thing.
She's a senior. Gabrielle Rush, also a senior. 3-pointer on the way. And the rebound on the the foul on the rebound as Tatiana Wyatt tried to pull it away.
Well, this is where Princeton's challenged right now without Allery on the court and without Jordan on the court. You're trying to block out, but you're giving up size in 2 or 3 positions.
There's a look at Allery with 2 fouls. Grace Stone picks up her first foul for Princeton. Tatiana Wyatt, a 64% free throw shooter. You see Courtney Banghart chatting with our official Mark Zentz. We've got Angela Lewis and Darren Kresnick in the house as well, our officiating crew. Full court Kentucky defense. Whistle on a foul.
They've been calling that tight to start the game. We've had 2 or 3 hand check fouls already.
It's going to be the second foul assessed to Blair Green, the freshman from Harlan, Kentucky. She will go take a seat on the bench. And Coach, to your point, they've played a lot of players already in this first quarter of action for Kentucky.
Well, I think they do it for several reasons. One, that they can continually have constant defensive pressure, and 2, they allow people to kind of get in the flow of the game in the first half, so that they have people down the stretch already prepared to play.
As Rush with the bucket, the senior. Ryan Howard with the basketball. Final seconds winding down to this first quarter of action.
Here at 10-second difference between shot clock and game clock.
Casey Morris. Go inside. Wyatt working. Wyatt. Ball loose. Princeton has it. 13 seconds to go. Three-pointer on the way, and it's good. Gabrielle Rush, the senior, back-to-back buckets. Oh, what a first quarter of action here in this Greensboro Regional. Princeton, the Tigers lead it 20-16.
The two seniors have led with Allery off the court.
She's already over her average. Jordan with 9 points already, Rush with 7, and this is all with their star player, Bella Allery, on the bench with the 2 fouls early on. She's back out on the court to start the second quarter.
You can see how much attention they pay to her. They're already fronting her all the way up at the high post. On the weak side is trying to step off and help. There's an extra defender standing right in the middle of the lane.
Melissa Lee alongside Mike Tebow, and Princeton getting a lot of help from Carly Littlefield, Sydney Jordan, and Gabrielle Rush. It's Kentucky out of the SEC, the 6th seed, taking on Princeton out of the Ivy League and the 11th seed here at NC State out of this Greensboro Regional. And it was back and forth early on, and Princeton has figured out this Kentucky defense.
At least it'll be interesting to see if Kentucky comes out with a little bit more immediate trap on the ball. Right now they've been content to just stay with hard full court pressure, but eventually you'll see some double teams.
Now Allery showing up those guard skills. Nice hook shot by the junior from Maryland.
And a great job to avoid the offensive foul.
Casey Morris, ball was stripped away. Sent ahead to Littlefield and kicked out of bounds by Taylor Murray.
Great hustle back.
So now Kentucky with 3 turnovers and Princeton with 4.
Princeton's have had really active hands in the paint. They've knocked the ball loose a couple times. That was a tough turnover.
5 turnovers now for Princeton. Kiki McKinney, it's the second time she's tried from that same spot and come up empty. Missed the last 2 games. Kiki McKinney trying to get back into the swing of things. Last couple of practices have been good for her. And another triple for Gabrielle Rush. She likes that wing, coach.
That's been the biggest improvement in Princeton's team. That double team against the post. Allery finding 3-point shooters on the weak side.
So Princeton.
You see 2 drives, now the weak side 3, and then the next 3, the pass out of the double team in the post. She's been on fire.
One of the 2 seniors on this Princeton team. They've stretched out their lead here over the Kentucky Wildcats. Not had too many issues with this Kentucky defense, as both teams have been trading turnovers here to start this second quarter. It's out of bounds.
They've slowed Kentucky down a little bit too with their zone defense, taking away the penetration off the dribble by Murray and Morris. They've forced them into some long jump shots or contested post turnarounds.
7 seconds on the shot clock here. Taylor Murray driving, cutting through. Oh, she was going one-on-one there with 6'4" Bella Allery.
And Allery had to back off. You don't want that 3rd foul now.
Kentucky using that knowledge to their advantage. You know, she sat the bench for a couple of minutes there in the first quarter with the 2 fouls. Allery inside, and you could hear that foul.
Yeah, we could hear, with the headsets on, we could still hear the slap.
Taylor Murray picks up her first.
Well, this is where Princeton has to get a little better as their inbound plays. Make sure they make the right decision. Kentucky works hard to deny inbounds passes on baseline out of bounds.
They went high to Allery, the shot and the miss. Rebound pulled down by Jada Roper.
That's the last part of Allery's game that's not quite back to where it was a year ago.
Fight for the rebound. Ryan Howard working for Kentucky and is fouled. The NCAA Wrestling Championships conclude tonight in Pittsburgh. Catch the championship finals at 8 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, and special off-the-mat coverage on ESPN3. You can also visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Sydney Jordan picks up her second foul for Princeton. So you've got Bella Allery with 2 fouls and Sydney Jordan with 2 fouls. And Jordan has been a huge catalyst so far in the early going as Bella Allery takes a seat. Allery with just the 4 points, Jordan with 9.
I think this is a constant reminder from Coach Bangart to Allery, like, you cannot jump at people in the lane. You're just going to have to let it go.
She was involved there on that rebound. That could have very easily have been her third foul.
I think the whole Princeton coaching staff held their breath on that one.
Ball out of bounds. Princeton will keep it. 19 seconds on the shot clock. 6:57 to go here in the second quarter.
It's really hard to prepare yourself when you play Kentucky for the exact speed that they have and the quickness of their hands, just like that. It's just, you can't replicate it very much in practice if you don't play the same way.
We've already seen that a couple of inbound situations. And Kentucky right there harassing Princeton, forcing them into a turnover. Got 6 turnovers already in the game for Princeton. Howard with a triple. Yes. Wow.
Such a nice smooth stroke. She started to get herself into the game a little bit more in the last couple possessions. She's touched it more.
It's a kid that knocked down a ton of threes early on in her career with Kentucky, and then everybody scouted her. Everybody knew that she was bringing to the table. Had a tough go of it, but learned from every single game as Sydney Jordan adds to her total today.
Great pass from Taylor Bauer on a ball that was loose in the lane. Just batted it to her teammate.
Back and forth, trading buckets. This time it's Macy Morris for Kentucky.
Macy Morris is a changed player. When she came to the program at Kentucky, she was strictly a jump shooter. Now she's learned to put the ball on the floor, distribute more, get to the basket. You know, we've talked a lot about Ryan Howard, but Macy Morris was the star before Ryan got there.
And a senior, and has been through the ups and downs in this program. She was one of the players Matthew Mitchell sat down in the postseason, or after the season finished a year ago, when they did not make the NCAA tournament. He said, I was so worried about protecting the streak of going to our 9th NCAA tournament, I lost sight of what we are and who we are, and told her specifically, we need to get back to Kentucky basketball.
And she had so many injuries. I think he tried so hard to protect her a little bit last year. But she bought into, like, hey, we're going to get back to the way we played when I was a freshman and sophomore.
That was the second foul assessed to Taylor Murray. She goes back to the bench to try to plead her case. Matthew Mitchell wants an explanation on the offensive foul that was called on this end.
Trying to get people off the floor. Murray didn't realize she was being subbed for right there.
It's almost thrown away by Princeton. Again, very tough on the inbound play today for the Princeton Tigers.
Another offensive rebound. When you think of Princeton, you don't think of great offensive rebounding, but they have a ton today.
It's the second turnover for Princeton. Roper, backup point guard, running the offense for Kentucky. 10 seconds on the shot clock. 7 seconds. Ryan Howard driving, kicks it out, and got it off just in time. Roper did. And now a fight for the basketball. Really hurried possession down here for Kentucky.
Yeah, Princeton's up their defensive pressure a little bit and had Kentucky scrambling. But Princeton's got to win those 50-50 balls. You get a team to take a long shot with 1 second on the shot clock. You got to come up with a rebound.
It's Grace Stone's second foul. A fresh shot clock now for Kentucky to work with. Macy Morris jump shot, yes.
She's so good going off the dribble, one dribble to get a pull-up jump shot.
10-2 run for Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky's had a couple great possessions in a row at both ends of the floor.
Littlefield looking for an opening. 9 seconds on the shot clock here. Rush inside to Stone. Stone is denied by Macy Morris, gets it back.
She doesn't know the shot clock.
And the shot clock winds down to 0, and you said it, Coach. Grace Stone with her back to the basket, didn't see the time wind down, thought that it hit the rim, and they had a fresh 30.
Yeah, a lot of young players forget you got to think it all the way through about whether the balls hit the rim or not.
8th turnover for Princeton.
You know Princeton's a little bit out of whack, too, when they spent most of that possession dribbling the ball instead of moving the ball off the pass. The pressure was great. Entry passes were denied.
And Taylor Murray on the bench for Kentucky with 2 fouls. Ryan Howard drains another triple, and that stroke is just so pretty.
You can see right there why she's such a tough offensive player.
7th lead change in the game. We've got a foul call.
This is a real this is a real dilemma here for Coach Banghart of how long to leave Allery out there in the game.
Tatiana Wyatt picks up her first foul. Coming up on the Northwestern Mutual halftime report, Maria, Andy, and Rebecca. We'll look at all the early women's NCAA championship games today. It's coming up on the Northwestern Mutual halftime report. .321 left to go before the half. Yeah, Princeton had a nice healthy lead, and Kentucky chipping away at it.
Well, they have the healthy lead, and then Allery went to the bench, and every time she's gone to the bench, it's been a struggle offensively to get some flow to the game. They had a couple great possessions when she first went out, and then the pressure was magnified, and they haven't handled it as well.
Princeton led by as many as 9, and Allery picked up 2 early fouls in the game, almost picked up a 3rd. And then you had Sydney Jordan, who was a catalyst early on in this game for Princeton, also pick up 2 fouls.
The other thing I think Kentucky's done a better job of is they've paid a lot more attention to where Rush and Littlefield are on the weak side of the floor and taken away that 3-point shot that they had early in the game.
Which was so lethal, and a big reason why Princeton got out to the lead that they did in the quarter. Jada Roper, nice feed inside.
If you're in a zone defense in a 2-3, you cannot let the ball go from the 3-point line all the way inside the dotted line in the lane.
2-point lead for the Wildcats. Allery bounce pass with a putback.
Wow.
Did not get it.
She made the perfect pass.
Macy Morris jumper does not get the Kentucky bounce. Rims out. Allery loses the basketball, hits the ground, and she is frustrated.
She basically ran out of room. One of the things about having your post handle the ball going full court like this is you're trying to make a play, but they surrounded her with 3 or 4 defensive players, and they're all slapping out the ball. She would have been better off at the top of the key to just pull up, get herself under control. She would have had teammates wide open in the corners.
She has not seen a team like Kentucky in their defense this season. Again, if you want to talk about Power 5 teams, did she play against any? No, she didn't. She missed the first 9 games of the season. Coming off a broken hand. Did not get to play any of those Power 5 opponents, and certainly has not seen a defense like Kentucky's this season. 8 seconds on the shot clock here. That one is airmailed, and the whistle is called. Princeton basketball.
Good defensive pressure. Got a little piece of the ball on that shot.
2 minutes to go before the half.
Bad pass by the official there.
Gonna put that one in the stat as a turnover.
His buddies will give him a hassle about it.
Allery taking it coast to coast, and she's turning that frustration into some offense, Coach.
That's some special talent right there. You have a 6'5" player who now has handled the ball full court 7 or 8 times. She's made a couple mistakes, but she's also had a couple great finishes just like that.
All tied up at 33. And Taylor Murray, point guard on the bench for the Wildcats with 2 fouls.
Great block out by Princeton on that play.
Allery, the give and go to Littlefield, and off the glass for 2.
That will be a subject of discussion at halftime for Kentucky, because that was an emphasis in practice yesterday for Kentucky on those cuts, and they've given up 2 or 3 of those already.
Macy Morris has been so good with that jump shot today. The bounce off back iron.
She was thinking about the 3.
Under a minute to go. Littlefield working. Long 3 for Bella Alarie.
Yeah, she's been front rim on a lot of her shots on 3s. She's got to get to the back rim somehow.
Again, that's the shot she's trying to work on since breaking her hand. She's trying to add that to her bag of tricks. Macy Morris with the basketball. 23 seconds, game clock 15 on the shot clock. Putting on a show, dribbling, front iron. Alarie with the rebound. 9th rebound for Bella Alarie, working on a double-double. Three seconds to go, and the shot falls.
Great shot by the freshman Stone. She did a great job. Knew what the shot clock or game clock was. Pulled up at the buzzer.
Princeton and Stone.
For Princeton right now, that's kept them having extra possessions in the game.
And also a story of the first half foul trouble. You see all the players really on both teams with 2 early fouls. And now back out with a full complement of players to start the 3rd quarter of action. And Macy Morris gets the Wildcats going with a big 3.
Well, Princeton came out of the zone, but if you're going to zone, you better know where she is, because she's their best 3-point shooter.
That was almost stolen away by the Wildcats. And that is stolen away. Ryan Howard back into the hands of Princeton. 3-pointer, wide open look for Bella Alarie. Hits back iron.
She just doesn't have balance on her 3-point shot.
Pascal, yes.
Great start for Kentucky. Come out firing, take the lead in 2 possessions.
4 points for the redshirt junior from Brooklyn, New York. Cindy Jordan, who had some foul trouble in the first half, back into the game. That's a nice looking shot by Bella Alarie.
Great find by Sydney Jordan. Being overplayed, Alarie at the top, threw it over the top where the defense couldn't get at it.
Now we slow things down here just a bit.
Princeton trying to communicate all these flares for Macy Morris at the top to get her 3-point looks.
Taylor Murray stops, pops, front iron.
Great block out by Stone on that.
Harley Littlefield has had to work against Taylor Murray all afternoon. Taylor Murray sat out a couple of minutes at first half of action with the 2 fouls. Got to be careful. Alarie, the dish inside. Nice finish.
Well, there's another great pass. She just knows in their offense that they're going to be cutters with all the overplays.
13 points for Sydney Jordan. Princeton led by as many as 9 in the first quarter. And then Kentucky chipped away at the lead. Bella Alarie having to be very careful, had those 2 early fouls. And a foul is called underneath now. I think that's going to be assessed to Alarie, but we'll find out.
Here's Alarie's passing ability. Finds cutters down the lane. It's nice to be 6'5" and be able to look over the smaller defenders, but she has a knack for that.
So pick your poison on the fouls. Sydney Jordan working with the 2 fouls. She's picked up her 3rd. Alarie still sitting with 2.
I think the way the game is being played, Jordan can avoid that extra foul probably easier than Alarie can.
Sure. Partly
because Alarie's size and length, she stands out to officials when you're in the mix in a crowd.
And you can tell she's got one speed, coach. One drive. Hard and fast. And beyond that, forget about it.
Well, when you have Jordan and Alarie out there and the officials are putting up 1 and 3, you have to flip around. One's 31 and one's 13, so I wasn't even sure which one they were calling it on at first.
Littlefield needs some help.
Princeton's having to dribble the ball way more than they want to.
Rush having to go up against Howard. It's 5'10" versus 6'2". Howard, another 3-point look. She was draining those first half.
That was halfway down.
Stone Turnaround Jay gets the bounce.
That is a confident freshman. I mean, Coach Banghart told us yesterday or the other day that as a freshman coming in, you wonder how they're going to accept, the pressure of big games. She's had no problem. Grace Stone has stepped up.
That's a kid that can guard 1 through 5. Doesn't do anything elite according to Courtney Banghart, but can do everything very, very well. Good harassment by Kentucky's defense. Taylor Murray on the move. And Taylor Murray draws the foul.
Yep.
Second round coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship continues today on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For more information on game times and listings, go to NCAA.com. And this is maybe one of my favorite times of year, Coach Tebow.
It is. And I kind of multiply it because you get, for me, with the draft coming up, you get to start thinking about what players are coming into our league in the WNBA. Getting a chance to see all these great players throughout the tournament in the most pressure-packed games that they're going to play in.
And Bella Allery, looking at her there, she is a kid that will certainly go top 10 when she's ready. She's a junior now.
Yeah, I think I'll make a lot of trips to Princeton next year.
You think? Kid who reminds a lot of people of Elena Deladine. You know a lot about that kid.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have a player with those kind of skills.
The basketball working the kick out. Littlefield. No, Littlefield is fouled.
And I know it's just a little thing right there for Littlefield. Bella Allery at the top of the floor has learned to pass the ball strongly with both hands. So that pass, instead of having to bring it across her body with her dominant right hand, she was able to snap it on a line with her left hand. And it seems like a little thing, but for young players, if you can learn to do that, it really helps.
There's another look at it, Coach.
Catch the ball at the top and just snaps the ball. I mean, the shooter never had to move her hands to be wide open to get a good shot off.
Allery has 5 assists in this game, sitting on the 9 rebounds, the 8 points. We weren't joking that she is flirting with a triple-double. Certainly will get the double-double here today. Littlefield unable to convert on the last free throw. By the way, the last foul was assessed to Pascal. She's got the basketball working, the bump, and it's going to go to the free throw line.
Yeah, the principle of verticality was fine until the defender just stuck her hand out in front. That was Bauer. Yeah.
Yep, picks up her first. Junior forward from St. Louis. For Princeton, it is the Bella Allery show. Averages 23 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. And everybody else behind her pretty solid in terms of numbers. Got quite a few kids up and down their roster. Average at least 5 points per game. So able to chip in when needed. And in a game like today, they have needed it, with Bella Allery sitting the bench in the first half with 2 early fouls.
The other thing that struck me about watching Princeton this year is that they have so much size at the guard spot that they get contributions on post-ups and cuts and rebounding from guards.
Bounce pass out of bounds. Another turnover for Princeton. That is their 11th of the game.
Yeah, they're flirting with the territory they don't want to get into. Those are just terrible empty possessions. And every time you play Kentucky, you want to try to get a good shot every time down.
Turnover there. Kentucky gets it back. Jada Roper with the basketball. Roper tried to move off the screen. Off to Anya Galibo.
That could have been an over-the-back foul right there.
Kentucky averages 21.5 turnovers per game. Forced over 670 turnovers this season.
The other interesting stat about the turnovers that they force is that they score over a point per turnover force, which is a huge stat.
Princeton fans wanted a call there off Ryan Howard. Wanted a push call.
That's a frustration foul. Ryan Howard missing the shot at the other end. As a coach, it's one of my pet peeves. If you make a mistake at one end of the floor, don't double your mistake by turning around and committing a foul. That's an unnecessary foul. That's an aggressive play, but it's not necessary.
It's her first foul of the game.
We saw Bella Allery do that with her first foul in the first half.
Yeah, Howard, ESPNW National Freshman of the Year, SEC Freshman of the Year. Kid brought a lot of hardware to Lexington before she got there. Gatorade Player of the Year. Very well decorated and really brought something special to this game for the Wildcats. She gets the steal, and on the other end, the conversion, Taylor Murray.
Again, turnover, score at the other end. Kentucky gets the lead back because of it.
Kentucky had that trip over the summer to Italy. As that goes down for Princeton and Gabrielle Rush. And Ryan Howard showed up just for the last game after hanging out with USA Basketball. She showed up, and that was really the team's first look at her and what she can do. And all of a sudden, it was bright-eyed, and Macy Morris and the upperclassmen very excited to have this freshman as a part of this team. What she was able to bring to the table immediately, making an impact. Speaking of that, Macy Morris drilling it from three.
Every time she shoots that shot, I think it's going in. She's just got great form on her shot, confidence.
I tell you, Howard has been very disruptive here in the last couple of possessions for Princeton.
Trying to impose her will in the game a little bit more. Wow.
It's tough to do when you've got a three-point sharpshooter like Princeton does in Gabrielle Rush.
She got him on the run in the first half, and this is an important couple possessions right here for both teams. Whatever team can get a little bit of run can get some momentum going into the fourth quarter.
Kentucky will try for a triple of their own, won't get it. Rush with 16 points, trying to add to it. Mallory working around the defender. Didn't quite have her feet set.
No, it was almost like an excuse me shot. I have to shoot it.
Taylor Murray draws the foul. So Princeton takes back the lead, and the threes are falling for Gabrielle Rush.
Comes around and gets it going the other way.
Princeton was able to extend their lead to 9 to end the first quarter of action. Kentucky came out second quarter, chipped away at that lead. Very tight ball game here down the stretch. Seen that great Kentucky defense forcing Princeton into 12 turnovers, but it's been Princeton all over the boards here in today's matchup.
And I think a lot of times when you think of Princeton, you don't think of offensive rebounds, but they have been persistent today about attacking and getting second shots. And another turnover.
13th turnover for Princeton. Princeton now rebounding Kentucky, to our point, 25-17 in this matchup. A lot closer than it was at the half.
Yeah, they haven't gotten the second shots that they got in the first half. Princeton in a matchup zone this time, taking cutters through and handing them off.
Ryan Howard bounce pass inside to Wyatt. Wyatt with a shot.
They made a point yesterday in practice to kind of go at Allery in the post to see if they could get her in foul trouble, knowing that she has to back off a little bit.
10 points for Wyatt, 10+ points in 4 straight games for her. Kentucky team that is well rested coming off the SEC tournament. Now it's just too easy for Bella Allery.
Great UCLA cut off the high post. They do a dribble exchange to get Allery at the top of the floor, and when she passes it to the wing, she makes a basket cut off a screen.
Now in double figures for the day, 10 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists for Bella Allery. Player of the Year in the Ivy League in back-to-back seasons. Roper to Murray. Murray, yes!
That's a bonus shot for Kentucky because she doesn't look to shoot a lot of threes. And if she can knock them down, takes a lot of pressure off of Morris and Howard and the others.
13 points for Murray. Hook shot won't go for Bella Allery. Gabrielle Rush has been the sharpshooter for Princeton with 16 points, 4 from outside. And for Kentucky, Wyatt and Murray, Morris all in double figures. Howard.
Oh, they're going to call a foul on this, but I thought it could have been a jump ball.
The road to the Frozen Four ices up tomorrow at 7 Eastern with the NCAA Men's Ice Hockey Selection Special on ESPNU and the ESPN app. You can also visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Grace Stone picks up her 3rd foul.
The officials are getting an earful from the Princeton fans behind us, but I think they had a good point. I think that official might have had a tough angle at the start of the play because I thought it could have been a held ball very easily.
Mark Zentz, Angela Lewis, and Darren Kresnick are officials here today. Ryan Howard, a 69% free throw shooter, sitting with 7 points on the game. Make it 8. Princeton much better in the second half, coach, on inbound play. Much better.
It's going to be a little different if they get it down under their own basket, but a little bit better going up the court.
Middlefield needing a little help. Skip pass over to Rush. She's open on that wing. That's where she was knocking him down at will. Macy Morris driving, and that is the improvement Macy Morris has added to her game in her time at Kentucky. The complete package.
Yep, she's been able to put it on the floor and make plays.
Loose ball. That is a tough goal.
Roper, I think, got a timeout call before she slid out of bounds.
So Kentucky and Princeton coming up this afternoon. That feeds the Greensboro Regional and a date with the winner of Missouri and Iowa. Talk about 2 fantastic finishes out in Iowa City. Melissa Lee alongside Coach Mike Tebow.
This has been interesting. You have Kentucky now, who has every quarter improved their shooting percentage. Now shot 58% in this quarter. It's a huge improvement in the game.
Kentucky outscoring Princeton 25-15 in the quarter, and Macy Morris with the capper.
The senior leadership steps up. We've talked a lot about their other players, but and they're going to start the quarter with the ball in their hands. A score to start the quarter would get things going the right direction.
So the story of the game, Bella Allery with the 10 points. She's gotten a lot of help here today from Jordan and Rush, also in double figures. Allery with 5 assists to show what she's been able to do on that end. And then Kentucky, it's been a team effort. They've gotten their entire bench involved.
They've gotten their whole bench involved, but I think it's interesting. You know, we promoted, Ryan Howard to start, but it's their senior leadership, Murray and Morris, that have stepped up and have 30 points between them right now to set the tone for Kentucky.
Macy Morris with 11 points in that 3rd quarter. All the momentum shifted to the Wildcats. Princeton led by as many as 9 in the 1st quarter of action. 3-pointer. And I'll tell you,
that's the way to start. Yep. Great swing of the ball by Grace Stone also. No hesitation. Find your shooter as quickly as you can.
19 points for Gabrielle Rush. Welcoming everybody in the 4th quarter of action here in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's in a back-and-forth battle between the 11-seed Princeton Tigers and the 6-seed Kentucky Wildcats. Right now, the momentum has shifted at the end of that 3rd quarter. A 9-0 run for Kentucky. Princeton having to battle back here in the 4th. Melissa Lee alongside 3-time WNBA Coach of the Year Mike Tebow. And you said it, Coach, for Princeton, the first 2 minutes of this quarter is going to be key.
Very crucial. They got off to a good start, knocking down a 3 on their first possession. Gave up a shot at the other end, but came right back here and got to the free throw line. You know, it's a 6-point game. They just need a couple stops right now to get themselves going again.
It's 15 points for Sydney Jordan, a senior for Princeton. Really made an impact in this game. Kiki McKinney, she is denied by Bella Allery.
Great job on that play for Sydney Jordan to stay home with Macy Morris and don't let her be the outlet on the play.
Ball out of bounds and will stay here.
Well, this play right here, now we're on the baseline out of bounds again. This is where Princeton has struggled throughout the game, getting the ball in easily against Kentucky's pressure.
And forced Princeton into 14 turnovers. NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One continues. Next at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. You can check local listings for the game in your area. And remember, everything will be streaming live on the ESPN app.
Well, that was an interesting call. An offensive foul. The defender was up underneath the offensive player. She kind of got her arm up against her, and they called a push-off. I would have probably liked to let that one go either way.
It's the second foul assessed to Rush here in the game. Bounce pass inside. You see Allery trying to impose her will. Still goes down for Wyatt.
She had a tough angle to get back. She played so far up on the high side, did Allery, that it was tough to get back on the drop step for the layup.
12 points for Wyatt. That's how you give credit to Littlefield in this game, trying to bring that ball down against that Kentucky defense.
Well, on this play to get Wyatt her layup, Allery gets caught up on the top side, and the ball's thrown on the baseline side, and there's no way to get back without fouling. Great pass on the entry.
In the last play, Murray assessed her third foul. Littlefield, the sophomore, working. Looking for some help. Gets it in Sydney Jordan. No fear. Bella Allery there, and she is fouled.
Great little hesitation pump fake to draw the foul. If she had gone right up, she probably was going to get that shot blocked. Got the defender in the air.
Working the second, third opportunity there for Princeton. Allery with the 10 points on the game, 11 rebounds. Make that 11 points this afternoon. Catch SportsCenter tonight after Top Rank Boxing with John Anderson and Steve Levy. We'll have all the must-see plays from the Murray State and Florida State matchup. Plus KD leads the Warriors against Luka Doncic and the Mavs. And UFC heavyweight champ Daniel Cormier joins the show to break down Pettis Thompson. SportsCenter, midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN. Jump shot, a little too easy for Taylor Murray.
They're trying so hard in their defense to kind of play off of her so they can help on their other shooters, but she's kind of stepped up here in the second half. Made a couple long shots.
15 points for the senior. Just a shade over 7 minutes remaining in the game. Pass inside to Allery. Gets her miss. Trying to use the glass on the second opportunity. And they're going to call a travel.
Ooh, boy. I don't know how you could distinguish which one traveled in there. Both coaches are up on this one.
Princeton will get the ball back. Fresh shot clock. Stone out to Allery, who's had a tough time with her three-pointers here today, and she draws the foul.
Good job to lean in and draw some contact. She didn't have a real good angle, but she knew she had a smaller defender on her that she could lean in on.
Macy Morris picks up her first foul. Allery back to the free throw line. 83% free throw shooter. The two-time Ivy League Player of the Year, was the Rookie of the Year her freshman season. Just a junior, which means she comes back and is still learning to improve her game. And as Coach Courtney Banghart told us, she improved her game leaps and bounds from just a year ago.
She did. She's worked on her ball handling. She's worked on using her offhand more. She's gotten stronger physically, got in the weight room.
Kid who has grown to love the spotlight, a little bit of a late bloomer in terms of her play and being as good as she is. Didn't realize really how good she was till she got in the weight room and added the extra 20 pounds.
Exactly. I saw her play in high school in D.C. and she was so thin and just starting to grow into her body. And, you know, once you get stronger as you get bigger, it helps your confidence overall in the things you can try to do.
It's Ryan Howard. Pops it, runs out. And that's just a freshman, a kid who literally was built to play in the SEC coming in from high school.
Yeah, unlike Allery, her body was ready.
She looks good, coach. Allery, the shot from the elbow won't fall.
Jump shot just has been a little off today.
Couple of empty possessions for both teams. And there's 6 to go. An opportunity to play the winner of NC State and Maine. That matchup coming up later this afternoon here in Raleigh. 5 seconds on the shot clock, and Howard just lays it in.
Oh, that's a killer. One-handed inbound pass. Taylor Murray is alert, as she always is, comes back for the steal.
And on the other end answering as Gabrielle Rush very quickly fires from 3. That last possession by Kentucky, a really good look at what their defense can do.
Yes, it is. And, you know, you get surprised. You don't think they're pressing one time, and all of a sudden somebody just turns around and comes back in the passing lane.
Murray, the senior, that's a senior move right there.
Princeton's going to have to make an adjustment in their defense and how they're guarding her right now, because she's turning the corner on them when they're trying to go under on screens. The defender's just getting beat a little bit.
She's got 19 points, one of the seniors that did not get to the tournament a year ago, breaking the streak Kentucky had of 8 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances.
And another frustration foul. The corner. Great stroke, and the biggest improvement in her game is the pump fake on the closeout and take the dribble or 2 to get a nice little pull-up.
Macy Morris with the 17 points, the 4 rebounds, an assist, and Taylor Murray not too far behind her with 19 points, actually ahead of her with the 19 points, and the dynamic duo, the seniors that missed out on the tournament a year ago, back in the tournament this year and wanting to make some noise. Now Princeton playing from behind and in a hurry. Had a quick 3 earlier by Rush. Now Kentucky making them work from the elbow. That'll fall.
You got plenty of time right here for Princeton. If you get some stops, you got to get 2 or 3 stops in a row and convert it into scores at the other end.
17 points for Jordan, a Princeton team that was here a year ago and lost to Maryland in the first round.
Princeton back in the zone, trying to shade toward Morris.
Murray was open. Looking some time. 8 seconds on the clock for Macy Morris. It's a kid that leads the SEC, ranked 9th nationally in 3-point field goals. She's going to go down in the history books at Kentucky as well for her 3-point shooting. And is as close to 100% as that kid can be. Struggling through knee injuries this season.
She's taken a pounding every night, and she's the focus of a lot of defenses. She's seen that for several years in a row.
The putback off the Rush 3. Bella Allery. Wow.
If you're Kentucky and you're not on the inside, there's not much you can do about that. She has a seal on the inside on the jump shot. Her length allows her to get the ball and then draw the and one.
You saw her dad, Mark Allery of Duke, back in 1982 through 86. Went to the title game of NBA fame as well.
Well, we're back in a 2-possession game. They've gotten the stops that they needed to get. Can they get another one? Kentucky being a little bit more patient, trying to get a good shot.
Wildcats value the basketball. Howard for 3.
She is not fazed by the pressure of this game. She wanted the ball when it was swung. You could tell she was ready to shoot as the ball was being reversed.
ESPNW Freshman of the Year. Freshman of the Year in the conference and the SEC as well. Ice cold. Allery thought about pulling the trigger. Driving. The miss. Jordan is there. Kentucky basketball.
Kentucky going to use a little bit of clock each possession now.
Just 7 turnovers in the game for Kentucky. They've taken care of the basketball from the wing again. Howard, no. Her last triple looked so pretty there, she thought she'd try it again.
Same spot on the floor. I think she thought it was good.
Howard with 13 points, the freshman. Morris 17. Murray with 19. Wyatt with 12. It's a good day for Kentucky.
Princeton can't afford to use a lot of time on each possession. They're going to need to use some of their quick hitters to get quick shots here.
Get
Looking for an overload to get a post up for Allery by herself.
Or a rush for three. She's dropped in 6 3-pointers here today. There she is. For three from the corner, no. Fight for the basketball. Howard was on deck, and it will be Kentucky basketball.
Called a foul.
So Sydney Jordan picks up her fourth. 1:52 to go. Inbound play here for Kentucky.
And Princeton in their three-quarter court press with Allery up front with their length. Her and Jordan in the front of the press.
Jordan with a foul, but also a career high today to help her team. 17 points. Roper looking for an opening. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Taylor Murray. Macy Morris. Long two. Nice job by Grace Stone handling the basketball. Quick fire for Littlefield.
Well, they've got to extend their pressure right now. They can't let Kentucky use clock here. You might have to start fouling now because there's no way you're going to let them run 30 seconds off the clock and have it be in your favor.
That's exactly what Kentucky's going to do. Just let the clock wind down.
And they can't afford to have Jordan do the fouling.
Morris the kick out. Taylor Murray for three. 45 seconds to go in the game. Three-pointer, Littlefield, yes! Timeout.
Well, Princeton got the shot they want. I just think they let too much time run off on the last possession. Well, here's the full court pressure. Princeton's got to be wary of Kentucky sending somebody deep. They send Rush back to guard against the long pass. Problem is you don't really want to foul Macy Morris. They can do it on this one, but they got to do it. They got to do it again. The ball's out of bounds on the side here.
And Macy Morris at 83% free throw shooter.
They've got to try to keep her from catching it now. They've got to try to make her have to go away from the ball, but don't let Macy Morris be the inbounds receiver.
Stone picks up her fourth foul. And a timeout called by Matthew Mitchell and Jada Roper. That was almost a 5-second count.
Well, now he can advance it also and get it in the front court if he wants. Give it up to somebody else here. They start Morris away from the basketball.
Morris 2 for 2 from the free throw line here today. Taylor Murray gets it off, and a quick foul on Jada Roper.
Well, Princeton has 3 timeouts left, so on every one of these situations, they're going to be able to advance the ball if they want, get it in the front court, and save themselves 5 or 6 seconds of time off the clock.
You've got Macy Morris, who's that 83% free throw shooter, and then Jada Roper, who got the last touch. She's an 82% free throw shooter.
Yeah, she just doesn't have as many opportunities in late game situations to shoot this, so we'll see how she handles the pressure. You know Morris has been used to it.
Roper, the junior, Memphis, Tennessee.
Nothing but confident looking on that.
It's a Kentucky team that took some time off, 2 weeks after the SEC tournament. Tried to get back to healthy, full speed, and are ready to make some noise in this NCAA tournament. Back in it this year after missing out a year ago.
30-second timeout, Princeton.
I think the difference, knocking down shot after shot, when the game got close every time, she seemed to come up with a big play.
Kentucky shooting the ball very well, 50%.
Well, Princeton right here needs a quick score. Doesn't necessarily have to be a three, but they got to get a score right away.
Allery.
There's the first one.
Look shot. Quick timeout.
So by calling the timeout now, Princeton, can set their defense, but they take. Both teams
17 points.
Yeah, both teams have 4 players in double figures, so they've gotten balanced scoring.
Career high for Jordan. Inbound play here. Morris with the basketball. Quick foul.
She did a great job, Morris, of acting like she was going the other way and then coming back quickly. As soon as the ball.
Grace Stone is done. Just fouled out of the game. 24.8 to go.
I always find it interesting. It's just it's a different philosophy that I have than some coaches. If you have a player on the floor that has 4 fouls already and you know you're going to foul, use one of your bench players sometimes to commit that foul so that you can put your offensive player back in the game. You know you're going to foul anyway, and you know at a free throw situation you have the ability to sub back.
Stone finishes with 6 points today. Just a freshman on this Princeton team. Princeton team that had won 12 straight games heading into the tournament. They were here a year ago, got beat by Maryland. Looked really good early on in this game against Kentucky.
Princeton now using, I think it's their last time out. We saw the big play that Taylor Murray made on stealing the inbounds pass and changing the momentum of the game. But with enough players coming back like Princeton does, they can be right back here again next year.
They lose 2 big ones in Sydney Jordan and Gabrielle Rush, seniors on this team. Allery, easy, back to the basket. Quick foul on Ryan Howard, the freshman.
Well, now they're going to have to push it up the court quickly because they have no timeouts to advance it.
So back to a 5-point lead for Kentucky. Sydney Jordan is also done for the day. The senior has had a heck of a ball game here this afternoon.
And a heck of a career, too.
Absolutely. 17 points for her today, 5 rebounds and assists to go with that. A 3-year starter for the team.
And such an upbeat leader for this team. She gives them their toughness.
Courtney Banghart told us that everything this kid will do, nobody else wants to do. She does all the dirty work and needed it to show up in the stat sheet this year, and it did.
Well, there's a big break right there. 2 misses.
Howard with the rebound. Time winding down.
Got a good look. Can't ask for much more when you have no timeouts and you're going full court. Got a clean look, just didn't go down.
It's Taylor Bauer, junior for Princeton. Sydney Jordan, the senior, done for the day, done for her career. As well as Gabrielle Rush, who also had a great game. 22 points, 6 triples in this game. Howard knocks down the free throw. Kentucky got back to basics and their defense and what made them such a tough team in the SEC and beyond. Got back to that this year, and what did it net them? An NCAA tournament appearance, which they missed a year ago.
And they're going to be a tough out going forward, no matter who they play.
Allery, 3-pointer. Trying to get the Princeton bounce. The putback no good, and that will do it. Tough fought matchup for the Princeton Tigers, who end their season 22-10 on the year. Kentucky and Matthew Mitchell